This video will give you tips on how to answer the iGCSE Business 9-mark Justify questions. There are 2 9-mark Justify questions on each paper, so it's really important that you know how to answer them well. There is more than one way to answer a 9-mark Justify question. However, the way that I will show you in this video is recommended by senior examiners, and it's an easy way to gain full marks. Do check the link in the description box for iGCSE Business resources, including a free revision checklist. If this video has been of value to you, please do click the like button and subscribe, as this will help YouTube push out the video to others who might also find it useful. For the 9-marker, you are assessed on the following objectives: AO2, which is applying your answer to the case study, AO3, which includes you having interconnected points, and AO3, where you're required to make a judgment, so that includes the evaluation as well. You are not assessed on your knowledge, so do not include a definition for your 9-marker. For the 9-mark Justify questions, you'll find 2 on paper 1 and 2 on paper 2, and there's always a choice, so there's always options. So it could be something like, should the business decide to increase training or should they lower prices? You need to choose one of these options and evaluate that option. Make a clear choice out of the 2 options and balance out your response as to why the business should or should not choose that option. You must show detailed understanding of the choice that you've made and include context. So in terms of showing detailed understanding, you would use logical chains of reasoning. You would have interconnected points, and you could use connectives such as because and leads to and therefore, in order to help you really ensure that your answer is detailed. For the 9-marker, you do not need to consider both options. As I said, choose one option. And then you also need to ensure that you're evaluating. Now, when you're evaluating, when you bring in that paragraph on evaluation, use words such as on the other hand and however to show the examiner that you're focusing on an alternative viewpoint, and state why that option might not be that good. You must at the very end have a judgment. Examiners want to see a clear overall judgment to evaluate your decision. It is important to write an effective conclusion for these 9-markers. Examiners are really looking for that, and that will help you gain marks for AO4. And just a reminder for this 9-marker, you do not need to consider both options. Just evaluate one option. This is how we could structure the 9-marker. Paragraph 1, you choose the option in the first sentence. Explain the benefits, the importance of this option. Explain the points. Use connectives such as because, this would lead to, this means that, etc. And include context to the case study. Paragraph 2, start the sentence with however, or on the other hand, or in contrast to. Explain the disadvantage of the option explained above, so the same option. Use connectives such as because and this would lead to, and include context again to the case studies. So this is your second paragraph. So there's context in the first paragraph, context in the second, and now we get on to the final paragraph. So with the final paragraph, you should start the sentence with the option you chose and state why you chose this option. Give a new reason why you chose this option. Make sure there's context in this paragraph. So the context could be related to the product they sell, or some figures within the case study, or something inside the case study that is meaningful to your option. Justify why you chose this option. Use the term "it depends on." So it could depend on the cost, it could depend on what else is happening in the economy, it could depend on what other competitors are doing. And you could also consider the most important factor. So I'll show you an example of a 9-marker, and you'll be able to see how this theoretical layout works in practice. You'll find the link to these videos in the description box. Do check these videos out. Let's take a look at a 9-mark question. Artify Studio was set up in 2015 by Tae Huey J in the busy Kapong Glam area of Singapore. Artify Studio's aim is to have a communal art space where people can come together and paint, where people would be given as much creative freedom as they would have if they were in their own spaces. Artify Studio provides many services, including its popular Liberty Art Jam, where customers can paint as well as listen to music. The studio offers a corporate art jam and regular kids classes. Customers can purchase art materials after attending the studio. Artify Studio is a profit-making organisation with a social element. It employs 7 part-time people, all of whom are art enthusiasts. Artify Studio is looking to increase the amount of paint materials it sells. It wants to sell painting sets for children and will need additional finance for the startup costs of buying these painting sets. It is considering the following 2 options. Option 1, crowdfunding. Option 2, retained profit. Justify which one of these 2 options Artify Studio should choose. 9 marks. So if you would like to attempt this question, you can pause the video now. Now the 2 options that we have, as you know, are crowdfunding and retained profit. Now it's entirely up to you what option you want to choose. It's just how you justify it. We're going to choose, for the sake of the video, option 2. Artify Studio should choose option 2, retained profit, to enable them to finance the startup costs of buying painting sets. Artify Studios could invest retained profit earned from previous years from the revenue earned from the regular kids' classes sessions and art materials sold. Using the retained profit will be quick and easy for Tay Huey to access, which means Artify would have the short-term finance needed to get the painting sets together quickly. Secondly, Tay Huey will not have to pay interest on this source of finance, which means that the cash outflow for the business will not increase. This means that Tay Huey will be able to continue to manage their cash flow effectively and keep more of the profit earned from selling the art supplies. On to the evaluation. On the other hand, there is no guarantee that the sets will sell, as customers may prefer for their children to take part in the art sessions in the studio, making the venture unsuccessful. If Tay Huey uses retained profit, it means that it cannot be used again. This might mean that Artify Studio may miss out on other business opportunities, as retained profit was used to purchase the painting sets. As you can see there, we focused on one option, option 2. Over to the final judgment, our conclusion. Overall, Artify should use retained profit, as it is a flexible method of finance, and Artify can use it when required. Choosing retained profit as an option depends on how much retained profit Artify currently have, and how much is needed for the painting sets. Most importantly, there will be less retained profits for Artify Studios to use for any immediate obligations. However, in the long term, Artify should be able to replace the retained profit used with the Liberty Art Jam and other services it sells. Thank you for watching this video. The next 2 videos that will appear on the screen are what YouTube thinks you should watch next.